What's up, guys? Amster Nose Hoops back today with another video. And today I am back with episode 2 of the, I guess you could call it the What's Next series. So today we are talking about two losers from the first round, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, in this series, the idea is sort of to talk about what these teams can sort of do going forward, what they should be looking to do to try and get farther for next season, and what can they do with the roster they currently have assembled. Now, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're at 785 subs. I really want to hit 800 before the end of the month. And the goal, again, is 1K by the end of the playoffs. So let's get to that goal. The first, we could talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. So Milwaukee has some pretty straightforward stuff in terms of you have Giannis here until at least 2026, 2027. So you've got another 2 to 3 guaranteed. You got 3 guaranteed years with Giannis staying on the team. Dame actually going into this next season will only have one more year and then a player option, which I'm assuming he will take. Chris Middleton has technically his next year is his final year of his his contract, but he has a player option. So if I'm the Bucks, unless something crazy comes in where you can trade Dame and you're getting a bunch of stuff, I think you keep your core 3. Giannis, Dame, Chris. You got to keep them. Now, Brook Lopez is on the very last year of his deal going into this. Now, Brook Lopez, if I'm going by Basketball Reference, he'll be 37. And I'm going to be honest, at multiple points throughout this season, you could see his age catch up to him a little bit. And I was talking to some buddies in my Discord. Again, I'll put the link in the description. We're in there watching hoops all the time, talking basketball, having a lot of fun. I think the move for the Bucks should be Brook Lopez is almost that role that Bobby Portis has. Now, I understand Brook as a rim defender helps a lot more, but I just think offensively we see a lot more from Brook in the Giannis-less minutes, and I think that actually might help him out, and that might help the defense out a little bit. And I still think Bobby Portis is good, and I think if you have him be more like Giannis in terms of roaming and let Giannis be a bit of a rim protector, I think you kind of make up some of that value. I think you keep him for this year, and depending on how he goes, you determine whether or not you move on or you're done. Now, Bobby Portis also has one more year technically, and then a player option. You keep those two. You got to keep Bobby Portis. Pat Connaughton is probably going to stay around. Marjon Beauchamp's going to be kept. Obviously, Thanasis is going to be there. I think you re-sign Malik Beasley. I know he struggled a little bit, but I think what he gave them shooting-wise and everything is too important. Gallinari barely played. Pat Bev is like a 50-50 shot. I think if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you have a couple things. One, unfortunately, you're stuck with Doc Rivers, if I'm going to be 100% honest. You've already done too many coaching changes. If they fire Doc, which I don't think they're going to do that now. That would have been 3 coaches in 2 years they have gone through, because you had Bud at the end of 2 years ago, Adrian Griffin, and then Doc, all within the span of less than a year of each other. So I think their coaching is a bit of a problem. If I'm them, the only other thing I'm really looking at is maybe a guard wing, like that 2-3 position. If there's any half decent role guys that, just slip through the cracks and Milwaukee can pick them up, I think that would be pretty key for them. Just because, again, their money is so tied up right now. I sort of feel like they know what they have and they're stuck with it. Now, of course, the question is Giannis and Dame going to be hurt again going into next year? I think this team, with some continuity, now that Doc is going to be the coach for the full season, maybe they'll have finally put it all together. And hopefully Dame plays better. I'm going to be honest. If Dame plays like this again, then scrap everything I said. Trade Dame immediately. You cannot keep him here. He's got to go. Because at that point, the experiment just failed, quite frankly. Like, Dame is just not who the Bucks thought they were going to get. But yeah, if you're the Bucks, I would try and stay the course and really look at what you're doing with your bigs in terms of their rotations and what you're doing to shore up the 2 guard or the 3 man in your rotations. Because again, I like having Jay Crowder. I like Malik Beasley, but I don't know how I feel about after that. I mean, you have Andre Jackson Jr., you have Gallinari, who will be 36. You can renew Pat Connaughton, but you still don't have a lot of size there. I think they kind of need to shore that up if they can. Again, their money's a little tied. Now, the team where I think things get a lot more rocky / oh boy, we actually kind of have to look at things. This is the second team in the video. The Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid has yet again missed, basically been hurt going into the playoffs. I will say, if you're the Sixers, you are ecstatic that Tyrese Maxey has proven his worth. But now you got to pay him the bag. And he deserves the bag. I'm actually very much so, once we get to the offseason, considering a Maxey video, because Maxey is quickly becoming one of my favorite players in the league. And I'm looking at this roster, guys. A lot of these dudes' contracts are up this year. So if I'm Philly, here's what I'm doing. I'll tell you the names I'm re-signing and who I'm kind of letting walk. Tobias Harris, you're walking. See ya, buddy. Good run. A Buddy Hield, I'm re-signing you, but I'm telling you, it's going to be for cheap because your showings in the playoffs and for some of that regular season that you went to Philly, the shooting wasn't looking like it's all that crazy. Batum, I'm going to try and keep for like a year or two, just a super cheap deal. Covington barely played. You can let him walk. You need to re-sign DeAnthony Melton. Paul Reed, you got there for another couple years. Maxey's going to get re-signed. Re-sign Kelly Oubre. I am being so serious. You do not let Kelly Oubre walk, Philly. Obviously, I'm not saying this as if it's as important if, like, you know, it's like, oh, we can't afford it. You know, him or Tyrese wanted to. Okay, then yes, you take Tyrese. But pay Kelly Oubre. I think he's a very, very good wing in this kind of Sixers system. So if I'm the Sixers, there's a couple things I'm really floating around. One, we need another wing, a legitimate wing. Basically, I'm trying to make sure if I'm Philly, I have like a trio. It doesn't have to be a super, three, but it's sort of similar to what the Bucks tried to do. Like you had Dame at point, Chris at the wing, and Giannis as your big, and you try to make that little trio. Sort of like, I mean, it's a little bit different because he's not a traditional wing, but like Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Jokic. Like those sort of trios around your superstar player. So right now, Philly has the guard and Maxey and the big and Embiid, but they don't really have that wing. So if I'm them, I'm looking for a couple things. One, maybe you can try and get a little, shifty and try and get Mikal Bridges if Brooklyn is finally going to commit to a rebuild. Try and see what you can. I mean, I'm sure OG probably re-signs to the Knicks, but if he doesn't right away, try. I don't think that would hurt you at all. Like, I think you only have more to gain than to lose. I think Nick Nurse is obviously staying. These two teams, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Doc Rivers and I don't think he necessarily should have been the head coach, I don't think as of right now that their coaching is a problem. Like, I'm not saying Nick Nurse is the issue. I think you just got to really help. Now, Paul George, you go for Paul George. If I'm Philly, that's what I'm doing immediately. Because if I'm guessing, Siakam, I'm just looking at the names here, guys, right? So you have D'Lo, who's got a player option. They don't need D'Lo. They've already got a guard. You have Gordon Hayward. They don't need Gordon Hayward. DeMar DeRozan, I don't think is what they need. Again, if I am them, I am calling Paul George's line immediately. That is a perfect fit for Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. You get his defense, you get his spacing, his offense, his creation. And then you're forcing things to be different, and the defenses have to respect a whole other aspect versus just if we shut down this PNR and make one of these two very uncomfortable, we might have just been able to walk away with the most minimal amount of damage. Get Paul George if you can, Philly. Go all in, because all the reports are saying that Paul George is out of there. Now, he's done. He don't want to be in this Clippers run no more. And obviously you have LeBron. I think he's just going to re-sign and stay with the Lakers anyways. Probably do another 1-year player option, other year thing. Right? You don't bring back Harden. Don't bring back Tobias Harris. Do not get Klay Thompson. You could re-sign Kyle Lowry for something cheap if you want. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot here that I'm looking at that I'm like, man, if Philly got this, they just, stole something crazy. So if I'm Philly, I'm looking to get a certified wing. I think that is your thing. And then the final option, right? Because you're like, Emster, you gave all these alternatives. My final alternative is very straightforward. If Joel Embiid gets hurt again in the regular season / playoffs, I mean this wholeheartedly. If I'm Philadelphia, I am asking people, or I am looking, what's Joel Embiid's value on the market? I mean that, genuinely. Because at a certain point, if you're Philly, it's like the definition of insanity, right? If you already know the result and you do it again anyways. If you know at that point that that's literally all that will happen every single time, and you'll continuously be a second to first round exit, right? I think you genuinely consider trading him and either rebuilding around Maxey or, retool or whatever you want to say, and then end the process. Let the process be over. Because at a certain point, it's just very clear that relationship is not going to work. Again, though, I would give that time. That is much more a desperate measures. He gets hurt again. Okay, what's his value at? So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think, which of those options should Philly take? Should they take the trade for a wing, if you can? Go and really, throw the dice out there in free agency for a Paul George, if you can get him. Or OG, if he doesn't, re-sign with the Knicks just automatically anyways, which I think he probably will. Or do you think, no, Emser, you're tripping. Now's the time to blow it up. Now we trade Embiid while his value, and a lot of people probably still have it super freaking high. And then, of course, for the Bucks, I think most of you guys will agree. I think they just kind of got to hope they shore up their wings, and they kind of remain healthy going into the next postseason, and they kind of figure it all out and gel and hope that Dame actually plays like he's supposed to. So, as always, guys, this was Emster Knows Hoops. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down below. What do you want to see next? Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. Peace out.